everybody, Jill here. Welcome to my channel. So we are doing a Q&A today. I had asked you over on my community page to throw me some questions. Could be about anything at all. And so I have several that I'm going to try to get through here. All right. Get cozy, get comfy. I know I am. I went ahead and made myself a coffee, of which several of you have asked me to show you how I am now doing that, because I am completely obsessed with pour over coffee. I am also equally, if not more, obsessed with the Olympia Roasting Company coffee that I have been using for my pour over coffee. Because really, if you want a really good experience, you have to get really great coffee beans. It's taken me a while to get there. So I have ditched my Keurig, and actually it wasn't a Keurig, it was Cuisinart, sort of same type of thing. Ditched that. I no longer use that. My husband does, but I don't. Me and my son now strictly do pour over, because once you do that, you are not going to want to go back. But you also, to get the best of what it does, you have to use really good quality coffee beans. So we have Olympia Roasting Company. I think that's what it's called here in Olympia. They also have coffee houses, and we have 2 or 3 in this area. There is one in Seattle and maybe one in, I don't know, 1 or 2 up north, including Tacoma. So they're actually pretty famous here in the Pacific Northwest. And I think, do not quote me on this, but I think you can order throughout the country off their website. And if you can, I highly recommend you try some of their coffee. What I choose to do, and most of the time, they only offer whole bean. Every now and then there'll be one that's offered in that's already been ground. But the best thing you can do is to get them whole and then grind it yourself right before. I just grind the amount I need for 1 cup, so it's really fresh. And then anyway, so I end up having 2 cups of coffee every day. I have one right when I get up in the morning after I feed my animals, and then the second one sometime before 4. I try to do something before 4, because then it's a little too late for me to have my coffee, I've noticed. I have a harder time going to sleep at night. So one of these days I will try to set up my camera or get my little tripod out that I have for my camera for my phone and record just sort of, how I do all of that. And then of course I have my separate machine which froths the cream for me. And yes, I do whole cream. Whole cream. Yes, I do. The heavy whipping cream. And it makes a decadent piece to my coffee. Anyway, cheers to you. Get yourself something nice and warm to drink if you haven't already. Get yourself your coffee or your tea. And let's hang out for a little bit today as we proceed to answer some of these questions. Okay, I have my glasses here because I know I'm going to need them. I always get to see exactly how dirty they are in front of the lights. So let me actually get over there to my community page here so I indeed can start looking at some of these questions. I have been reading them right along. As people post, I'll read. All right, here we go. First of all, several of you asked, because I posted a still from one of my fall makeup tutorials, and several of you asked me about what was I wearing on my lips, or can you please let us know what makeup you're wearing. And so this is actually a still from my fall makeup tutorial. So I will put that link down below in the description area, and you might see it pop up here. It might come up at the end of this video as well. Click on that if you're interested, because I walk you through that entire look of the still that I posted there on my community page. All right. This is from Tracy S. And she asked, this might be a strange question, but what do you say when someone compliments your hair? Being, because I wear wigs. I've had a couple of compliments with the color or style while wearing a wig, and it's probably my insecurity, but I immediately thought, they can tell it's a wig. Oh no. So I ended up blurting out, oh, thanks, it's a wig. And they seemed surprised, and then it was incredibly awkward. Yes, that does happen. And I have to say, Tracy, that I can totally understand your anxiety toward this, because in the beginning, I too got those compliments, and being a very new wig wearer back then, it did throw me sometimes. I agree. I do think, here's the thing. I do think that because many wig wearers will just tell them it is a wig in hopes that maybe they will, if they're even thinking about helper hair, or maybe, they're suffering with hair loss and they haven't even thought about wigs because in their head there is a stigma attached to them, and they may think of them back in the day when they were nowhere near as amazing as they are now. So it can be very helpful if you come out and say, this is a wig. Then they're like, oh my gosh. And then they may completely open up themselves to this idea. But I want to tell you more often than not, what I have found, because I will go both ways. Sometimes I'm in the mood or a place where I know I'm going to visit a lot, and I do change up my styles a lot. So I will opt to say, yes, actually, thank you, but this is a wig, believe it or not. And they're like, oh my gosh. But there is this awkwardness that happens because now you've thrown this at them and they're not quite sure how they should respond. I don't like putting people in that position. I don't, because it does usually always, there is this awkwardness that happens. So I really think hard, and it's kind of a spur of a moment thing because you never know when it's going to happen. But I do ponder just really quickly, I think just a matter of seconds, if I want to do this or not, because there's a lot of things that you may want to consider. Are there a ton of people behind you? What is is this an intimate setting? Then you're like more apt to maybe share that, because there is a bit of awkwardness, and you're now kind of putting this on to those people that are asking the question. So if it is an intimate setting, then I am more apt to say it's a wig. More oftentimes than not, though, I will just take the compliment and just be done with it and just say, well, thank you. But like I said, if it is a place that I know I'm going to frequent a lot, many times, and it also depends on, is it a big, huge, is it Kohl's? Is it, Target? Is it these big places where you probably may not see that same worker again and again, and they won't put two and two together? Then no, you don't have to. But if it's a small, intimate sort of mom and pop shop, or like, for instance, when I went to pick up some coffee, it is a very small coffee shop, very small. And I got a compliment on, gosh, I love the color of your hair. Who does it? Do you get it done here? And they were young anyway. So I did say that, it's a wig. And I feel like I need to tell you, because if I come in here a lot, you're going to be a little confused, because I wear sometimes short, sometimes long, and I switch it up. They're like, oh my God, how fun. So that was okay. So I think I'm confusing you more now than I intended. Not helping very much at this point, I think, but it is just a lot of things. How are you feeling that day? You feel really confident, and then you're more apt to be okay with saying it's a wig. What place are you in? What type of business are you in? Is it just out on the street and you're just hi bye? I wouldn't bother. I would just say thanks. Keep on walking. So yeah, I think it is obviously an individual decision, but I will say more times than not, I will just take the compliment. And then if they see me again in a different style, they'll figure it out. It's not like I have to tell them, they'll figure it out. They'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I think she must wear wigs, because the last time I saw her, her hair was really short and now it's really long. And that's okay too. You don't have to tell people that you wear wigs. You don't. You can just take the compliment and move along. I do. You wear wigs. You just have to accept the fact you wear wigs. And it's okay that you wear wigs. It's okay even if you're wearing a wig that may even look a little wiggy. Like, who cares? You wear wigs. And that was hard for me to sort of embrace in the beginning. I mean, granted, I do everything I can to make my wigs look as realistic as I can. Absolutely. I'm not that confident where I could just not care to the point of going out of the house looking, I don't know. But you do have to embrace the fact you do. There's some times where maybe, I don't know, you feel a little insecure and you're thinking, I feel like everyone's going to know this one's a wig. Who cares? Let it go. You did the best you could. You made it look realistic. You feel it's, you did what you had to do. Just whatever. If somebody asks you if you wear wigs or if you wear wigs, be proud and say, yes, I do. And it's so fun. It's so fun. I love being a wig wearer. Smile. Be okay about it. Your confidence can be faked. Don't forget, especially in the beginning, but you do have to wear it proudly. Don't be sheepish. Don't be like, oh my God, everybody. Then guess what? Your wig journey is no longer fun. It's full of anxiety, and it's not something that is complementing your life and bringing you joy and reducing the stress of whatever it is you're dealing with that's making you think about being a wig wearer. So you have to work on your frame of mind, on your confidence. And yes, like I mentioned, I still have days where I will go out and feel a little not myself. And those days are a little harder, and I might have more anxiety that day in general anyway. And then maybe I'm not feeling so great about the one I chose that day. You're going to have days like that. Just write those off. That's fine. That's going to happen. But more and more as you get out there, and really work on embracing that you're a wig wearer and be okay with different circumstances, it will get easier. You do have to work on it though, especially if by nature you are just not an out there person and an extrovert, because I'm actually an introvert, believe it or not, which brings me to another question. So Valley S asked, I'd love to know what personality type you are. Well, I mean, is there like formal personality types that you're wanting me to, because I don't know what those are. Like, I know introvert and extrovert, but like, I'm sure there are segments and actual, types of personalities. I would say that I'm a functioning, however that's dwindling, high anxiety introvert, but I can, like, what's the word for it? If I'm going to a gathering, which that never happens really anymore, but if I am forced to be out there, I can go along with small talk and just sort of mingle, and that's great. And I can be funny when I need to be. Like if I have to be at some place where there's lots of people, acquaintances that I know, mingle around and be part of something like that, I can do that, and I'm fine, but I'm exhausted when it's over. I have, you wouldn't know that I was an introvert per se, but I am, because that's like a function or something like that. I'm exhausted. It could take me a couple of days to recover, just because of the stimulation, and I really have to be on. And I know it sounds like, in a way, it was like, what do you mean? Like, are you phony when you, no, it's just that I have to, I can't explain it. I think some of you out there that I think are very similar, I can tell, to me, then you know what I mean. It's just, it's the stimulation of other people, and it's like, being on, but not fake. It's you're yourself, but so yeah, I am an introvert. I feel, I can't wait to get home kind of thing. I do isolate myself, but I need to revive and recover, and then I can go do something else, whereas I think a true extrovert actually feels more uncomfortable alone with themselves. They really thrive on being out, and they're very much people person. They're people persons, like my dad, he really needed to be around people. He was a storyteller. He really thrived on entertaining people in a group. He was just very much an extrovert, whereas my mom was the opposite. She was very much an introvert. I can be an extrovert where it appears I'm an extrovert. I don't even mind being, I'm not afraid. It's not like I'm shy in the corner somewhere. If I'm, say, in a group setting or visiting friends, it's not like you'll see me in the corner sort of avoiding people. No, I'm not like that. Like I will command a room if I need to, but, and it's not like I'm, you know what I mean? But yet when I'm done, I will have had fun and all of that. But I'm just like up here, and then I am completely exhausted when I'm, I need to recover from that. A couple days, I need to recover from that. So because I've had a very high stress last few years, that my coping skills have really been maxed out, and I have depleted my banks when it comes to coping skills, that I find that now harder to deal with. So I've isolated and pulled back even more because I know my coping skills, whatever, I need to deal with things like that, even though it would be fun right now, I think it's a way more challenging. So on top of being an introvert, I also have been told by a therapist that I am an HSP, which is a highly sensitive person. And if you don't know what that is, you should Google it because it's very interesting. I had no idea what that was. And she had sent me home with a book, and it really opened my eyes to even back when growing up and as a small child and all of that. So being highly sensitized to everything, including tactile, like the way things feel on your skin. It's not just about being a sensitive, emotionally sensitive person. It's just that things are heightened. You're the type of person that can walk into a room and not know anybody, but and feel you can feel the energy in the room. If there's tension over here, you can feel that. And so it's not, you're very tuned into your loved ones to the point where you feel their pain deeply, and you really have to work on not letting it consume you. So, I have 3 children. Raising them, if they were feeling pain because they had a bad day or whatever, you feel it to the depth of your core. And I always thought that just is something that everybody had, especially as a mom, but it isn't. It isn't something everybody has. And I was trying to explain this to my husband one day, and he said, that sounds like a curse. That sounds awful. I'm like, well, it is hard, and it drains you very easily, which is why I think I am an introvert and why I need recovery time. But I'm grateful that I understand that about myself. And I loved that book because it also kind of pointed out that those people that are HSPs are really special. And there's a lot about being an HSP that is unique, and it can be a gift in a way as well. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Another sip of my coffee. That is not very hot anymore. Okay, this is something that I have talked about numerous occasions. So one of the most popular questions that I get, and I get them like DM, I get them through my email, I get them through Facebook, I get them through instances like this. And it's when people ask me kindly. They're always very kind. It's not like, this is a terrible thing. And I don't mean to call anybody out about it. But I get asked, this is my criteria, sort of, can you recommend a topper, or can you recommend a wig? I'm looking for this, and this color, and I really like bangs or whatever. Can you give me some, please? Give me some examples of, what you'd recommend. I can't do that. I can't. I will not do that. I don't know you from Shinola. And these are investments. I cannot possibly spend your money I don't know what you're going to end up liking in different features with wigs and toppers and what you're not, just because you say it, I like very similar things as you. I think whatever you would like, I would like. You might be very wrong. So I never ever can give specifics. Now, I have done, like videos where I will suggest, I can tell you about different features and ones that I think maybe your first piece might give you the best experience. And I can tell you the features that you might look for, but I cannot just give you. So let me give you an example. So Cheryl said, I need a wig between shoulder and chin length that's layered, low density, and not my face. Been searching for a long time. Hope you can help. Thanks. Well, see, I can't. And I know you're thinking, well, Jill, just give her some ideas. Honestly, I don't even like going there. I just don't like doing that. So unfortunately, your best bet is just to learn about all the different cap features. I try to really break down what they are in the different wig chats and, what they give you and what they don't give you and yada, yada. And your best education is going to come when you actually start purchasing your wigs and whatnot and wearing them and learning what works, what you will not, do without, and different features that you're willing to not have. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I cannot give you specific pieces and wigs and whatnot. Clara asks, which caps feel most comfortable and lightweight? How is hubby doing? And how do you cope mentally and emotionally? Well, I don't cope. Hence why I've decided to start some therapy to give me some support in coping. Because like I said, I my coping skills have been depleted, and I just am having a hard time in general with all of it. So therapy was in order. As for wig caps and whatnot, I really love, I can't say I can pick a brand that is super comfortable for me above and beyond all the others. I mean, Raquel Welch definitely has these really nice caps, and they're comfortable and all of that. I think I have narrowed it down more to certain features that I have to have, no matter what the brand is, that will help the comfort factor for me. And, like velvet lined ear tabs, an extended velvet lined nape. And I don't like closed caps. I can't do that. I don't like permatease to come to the front of the wig, hence why I don't like, one of the reasons why I don't like closed caps, and they're also much too warm for me. So unfortunately, I have to opt for a little bit more of an expensive wig because I need certain features for me to work, and comfort is king, or I will not choose that wig no matter how gorgeous it is. I have to be somewhat comfortable. Now, I'm also going to tell you that I'm not one of those wig wearers that can ever say, I forget I'm wearing a wig. And I think that's because I am hypersensitive. Oh God, no. I know I'm wearing a wig. I don't care if it is the comfortablest wig on the planet. 100% hand tied, super light, all the features I love. No, I am not one of those people. I'm also going to tell you that the first year of my wig journey, again, my excitement trumped everything. And I wore my wigs from the moment I got up and got ready in the morning until 10 or 11 o'clock at night when I was ready to take it off and, take my makeup off and get ready for bed. I mean, I did that probably for the entire first year. I wore my wigs. It was so fun and exciting. But then, I didn't do that. And so now what I tend to do is when I'm done with my day and I've been out in the world, not all the time, there are plenty of times when I find myself taking my wig off at the end of my day, right before I'm, maybe, going to put my pajamas on and whatnot. That happens. But the majority of time nowadays, what happens is I take my wigs off as soon as I get home from my errands and I get comfy and I know I'm not going anywhere anymore. So the wigs come off, as does many times the bra, and I get into something much more comfortable. So that's my reality, and that is truly what happens. But the more that you do live with your wigs and have them on your head, the more you get used to them. I'm not going to tell you that in my experience, do I forget I have them on my head? I'm just saying you get used to them. You get used to the feel of them and what that does and what that brings you. So I do recommend keeping them on as long as you can because it helps you get through that a little faster. Because, when we were all isolated from COVID and all of that, I didn't hardly wear a wig at all. And now you're back to square one again and trying to get used to wearing them. So the least amount of time that you wear your wigs, it's, you're going to be more tuned into them when they're on your head. So I recommend, kind of really trying to keep them on all day if you can, especially in the beginning to get used to it because you're wearing a hat on your head. It's a hat and it's encompassing your whole head. So try to make that experience as comfortable as you can, which is why I don't like wearing wig grips and I don't like wearing wig socks on my head, but try to make it for you as comfortable as you can. Get those features that you'll learn over time you need to have for that comfort factor, and then the rest of it is just sort of getting used to that feeling of having something on your head all day. Okay, I just read this, but my camera shut off, so I need to reread it again. Okay, let me get back over here. So Jasmine asks, I'd love to know how you take care of all the little flyaway hairs that get in your face on a new wig. I feel like I'm constantly picking off random fibers that land on my face. And Jasmine, I wish I had something to tell you about that because it drives me nuts too. Using a little hairspray is definitely going to help, but by no means does it really help so much that it's cut down a lot of it. No, I have yet to find something that really helps me a lot. And I even asked someone from Wigs by Patty's Pearls, that I deal with. And she said that she uses the Control Hair You Wear, the Control Aerosol hairspray to help with that. But I do too. And yeah. And the other thing is you say, in your question with new wigs, well, yes, new wigs, because all those fibers are so soft and silky and you might get more flyaways. But honestly, it's all the time. They don't have to be new wigs to drive me nuts with the flyaways. Like this one, for instance. This one is, I've had this one for a long time and I still, have these flyaways. It really does drive me crazy. I find the straighter styles, the straighter, even if there's some layers right through here, like the bobs and whatnot, like portrait mode, beautiful wig, absolutely gorgeous. That's an example. It's kind of straighter, even though it has body around here. That's an example of the type of sort of style where to me the flyaways drive me nuts. Oh my gosh. I wanted to wear that one today. I had it on my head and, I was putting some hairspray in it and whatnot. It's like, nope, this is going to drive me insane. The flyaways really. So if you out there have anything that helps you immensely, I'm saying not just a short little, hairspray helps me a lot, but there are styles and different types of fibers that it doesn't do much. Portrait mode, I have pulled so many of those fibers out because they just aren't wanting to behave. It is the straighter styles, I find, that those fibers that are straight really do give me grief. So I cannot help you there other than try, if you don't put any hairspray on your wigs at all or anything like that, you might want to try that. I used to have some spray gel. I used to kind of style certain wigs with it and I would get it on my hands just a little bit and then just kind of crunch and stuff. I'm going to try that again because maybe that will help. I've also had somebody recommend using like the balms or the waxes and just kind of applying it more to the base of the wig. I have not tried that. I don't understand how that would work and why it would work, but I'll try anything. So throw your suggestions out for Jasmine and I, and those of you also who are struggling with your flyaways. I have tried virtually everything that any other wig channel or person who talks about wigs has suggested to deal with those flyaways. I have tried it all, and nothing seems to really put a big enough dent where I can say, oh my gosh, this worked so good, you know? So maybe it just doesn't exist. This is from Mista, and she says, hi, Jill, I'm sure this is going to be a fun video. Well, here's hoping, Mista, here's hoping. What are some, that's my plan. What are some of your favorite things to do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies? I have not had a moment to really even, up until recently, just because the last couple of years, it's been one horrible thing after another with kind of what's been going on with my husband. So I haven't really, I haven't really visited any of my hobbies that I used to have in quite a while. So things have, like I said, other than this newest thing, but everything else has kind of given us a bit of a respite, which is nice. So I can kind of start revisiting. One of the things I used to do a lot is crochet. I really do. I need to get back into that because it's so therapeutic. It is really therapeutic, but I have to be genuinely in the mood to do it. And it's usually around winter, that I'll take my crochet stuff out and look at some patterns and try something. And what I usually make are like throws or baby blankets or, throws, that kind of thing. And I got really into making baby booties, and then I started working with leather. And I got so into making leather baby shoes. I designed, I threw myself into this. And I still have a ton of leather. Anyway, it was so fun, and I learned a lot and had a blast. I even had an Etsy shop with them. I don't anymore. That was something I really got into. So I have all of this leather, and I need to think of a different way that I can utilize it. Anyway, I don't have any grandchildren, so if I did, I think I would really be into making baby shoes again with leather. I recently started reading again, nonfiction. I used to read from time to time. I was never like a huge ravenous reader like my daughters are. Both my daughters are ravenous readers. Whereas my middle, Hannah, she will read 3 or 4 books at one time. I'm like, how do you do that? I have not read a book in literal years. It has been so many years since I've sat and read a book. I recently read a book, and I've been in the mood to do that. And it's been nice because I get my face out of my laptop and just good old fashioned reading. And I like actual books. I don't like reading on another screen. You know what I mean? I like actual books. I love the feeling of the pages and the feel and turning. And I don't know, I am a hard copy book person. So the very first book that I read in, again, a long time, was Stephen King's new one called Fairy Tale. So I just finished that. It was okay. But now I have a couple more. I just today went to get a couple more from Barnes & Noble. And so now I have a couple sitting that I'm going to start. I just got them today. So it's kind of fun to revisit and do that again. And there was a few reasons why I wanted to start reading. One of those reasons was what I just mentioned about just get my head out of my laptop and let's just kind of, lose ourselves in this story. The other is I really wanted to work my brain. And it was definitely, it didn't take long, but I was rereading. I couldn't focus long enough to, get this thing going in my head when I first started reading. And I would find myself having to go back a couple sentences and reread because it took me a while to focus and to really immerse myself and get this going. But it didn't take too long, and I was able to do that, and I was able to stay reading for longer periods of time. So, I think it's been a good thing for me to start, reading again. I used to only read romance novels years and years ago. I am not in the mood for that at all. I have no desire to read romance novels. right now, at least. Maybe I will, but right now, nothing. I've read a few, like I read It, I read Misery, I've read one called, I think it's called Watchers by Dean Koontz. I like thrillers, but not gore. You know, I don't like horror. I like psychological thrillers. This person asked me about, do you have any videos on dyeing toppers or wigs? My Easy Part topper does not provide much coverage in the back, so I feel the color difference stands out too much, and my other topper is a different color. And so she asked about dyeing your toppers or wigs. Well, if they're human hair, then yes, you can, but I'd be very careful. I would even maybe consider taking them to a professional, because if it is a human hair piece, be it a wig or a topper, you've spent real good money on that. So, I would take it to someone who really knows what they're doing. If it's synthetic, you can't dye a synthetic fiber. So no, you can take the yellow out by using a special like purple rinse. I know John Renault makes one for synthetic fibers. If you want to get some of the yellow out, if it's a little bit too golden of a color, you could do something like that. But to actually dye, you can't do that with synthetic fibers. All right, guys, I think we're going to have to say adieu for this particular one. And I think it ended up being pretty long. We'll see how I end up editing this. But I want to say thank you so much for participating and asking questions. And I know I didn't get to all of them, and I apologize for that. But we will have another one, and I'm hoping we can do that one live. So I will let you know when and if that happens, and give you plenty of heads up so you can participate in that, and we can do those questions and answers live right here on YouTube. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and every time you decide to click on my thumbnails. And I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye-bye.